Welcome back to the cabin. I drove up yesterday in the rain. When I got here, luckily there was a dry spell, so I was able to get most of my gear inside. Today it looks like a nice day out there, although it's going to be really hot and humid. It's supposed to be 87 degrees this afternoon. So I think I'm going to work inside today. And one thing I want to do is to start putting up the tongue and groove under the rafters there above the ladder. So first of all, I have to move some boards over to the side so I can sit on them, used for staging. And then I'm going to continue putting in the hurricane straps every other rafter. I have to drill those first and then nail them in. And then once I do that, we'll put up some double face foil for a little bit more insulation and vapor barrier, and then start the tongue and groove. This is going to be a long process, but at least we'll get it started. This area of the wall here above the current tongue and groove and the rafters, it's about 2.5 feet there. That is going to stay open until I finish the ceiling, because these are temporary loft joists which I will remove once the ceiling's done, and then I'll continue with this tongue and groove up to the bottom of the rafters. So that's the plan there. I have some tongue and groove boards here to get started with. These are polyurethane, and if it gets too hot this afternoon, I'll go down and polyurethane some more in the basement where it's cooler. I picked up this refrigerator and brought it up this time. This runs on 12 volts DC or 120 volts AC. So it is a BougeRV is the manufacturer, and this is the 30 quart model. So we're going to try it out this time. The control panel on the side here is pretty simple. Currently the temperature inside is 27 degrees, and what I did not realize but I like, I'll see if I can focus here, at the bottom there of the LED display it shows the battery voltage. So I'm at 13.8 volts. That's my battery bank charging in the sun. So this 30 quart, it's a good size. You can fit 2 1-gallon jugs of milk in there. That will give you an idea of the size. What I do when I come up is I freeze a bottle of water. This is actually salt water, so there's still ice in there. So I freeze that to pre-cool the refrigerator here. So it actually has not come on yet. The compressor has not started yet because it's still cold in there. And I believe the reason it says 27 degrees is that salt water freezes at 28 degrees Fahrenheit. So you actually pick up a couple degrees below 32 degrees. I've got this towel here to keep my lettuce from freezing. So we will see how that works. The first thing I have to do is to move these 2 planks over next to the wall so I can work from them as I'm going along putting in the hurricane straps. Hopefully this won't be that difficult. A few trips ago I put two similar boards on the other side, and that was not that difficult. See if Murphy's Law is working today. So I'm stapling up this double-sided reflective fabric as a vapor barrier, and hopefully to get a little bit more insulation. This stuff doesn't have an R value, but the way they rate it is they take a wall and they measure the R value before they put this stuff up, and they measure it after. The article I read, they put up 6-inch R19 fiberglass insulation in a wall. They measured the R value for the total wall, and even though 6 inches of fiberglass is supposed to be R19, when you take into account the gaps in the wall and infiltration, the average for the wall was I think about R13 or 14. Then when they put this on top of their wall with the R19 insulation, measured the whole wall's R value, it came out to like R21. Hopefully it'll help me. So one of the things you have to do when working by yourself is to make jigs once in a while, because you don't have two people, so one person can hold one side of the board while the other one nails the middle or the other end in, or to level off a board. So this piece of tongue groove here has to go up here next to this one. It has to be at the same height and be flush. So I put this scrap piece of tongue and groove under, so the new board will rest on this, and then I put this outside board to kind of keep it in place so it doesn't just slip off. So we'll use that to put this board in, make sure it's level, and we may have to cut it to size too. We'll figure that out in a few minutes. I got the first tongue and groove board in and level. It's going to run up under the rafters, and I think this is going to work. Well, this is as far as I got with the tongue and groove this trip. The problem I'm having is it's really hard to get long boards seated down into the groove with this reflective foil. It doesn't like to give space behind it. So I need a flat pry bar, I think, to pry the top of the tongue and groove slightly away from the wall, so I can get the next layer in, and then I'll face nail it back into the wall after I do that. That's my plan for next trip. Ruger SR22. Let's take a look and see how I did. It's about 30 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I think 18 out of 20 shots on the paper. Still shooting a little high. This is for Jeff, who wanted to see me use the weed whacker last video. So here you go, Jeff. So because this is New Hampshire, I wanted to show you one of our covered bridges. This is a fairly new one. It's built in 1990. A lot of the bridges are over 100 years old. This is one that has a pedestrian crossing on the side, which is unusual. Notice the sign. And then when I go a little bit further onto the bridge and look down into the river, you can see why people shouldn't be jumping, because the water is very shallow there. So I've used this refrigerator for 4 days now, and I'm quite happy with it. Seems to do the job, keeps things cold. The instruction manual is pretty good. There were a few things in it I didn't understand, and it talks about when it's in working mode. That wasn't defined, but what I found out is once you set the temperature of the unit will lock after about 60 seconds. And then if you hit the plus or minus keys to try and change the temperature again, it won't do anything. And there's actually a little lock on the display saying it's locked mode. So what you do then is you hit this settings key, the second one down, and you hold it for a couple seconds, and then the lock will disappear from the display, and then you can change the temperature again. So I think that's what the manual means when it says when it's in working mode. Actually, one of the reasons I bought this was the warranty. It comes with a 2-year manufacturer warranty, and in the manual, back page in the manual, you can get a 1-year extension automatically by signing up on their website. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to do that, and I'll basically have a 3-year warranty on this thing. When I came up here this trip, the water had collected inside the cockpit of the Sunfish, and dummy that I am, I forgot to open the cockpit drain. So the back of the boat was touching the ground and the front of the trailer was up in the air, but no damage done. I had put the tarp on there previously with a piece of tongue and groove across the cockpit to support it, but when the tarp filled up with water, it just went down and filled up the cockpit. So this time I took a piece of plywood. I covered the cockpit with the plywood underneath the tarp, so we shouldn't have any repeats of that. Well, that's going to do it for this trip. I wasn't able to get the boat out on the water because there were a chance of thunderstorms each day, and we did have some rain too. So maybe next time. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up. See you back at the cabin next time.